Hi, this is Kim. I was just thinking about starting a YouTube channel um, about empaths because this seems to be a rising group of people that I'm especially entangled with, so to speak. Um, I can tell if someone's an empath usually, and I work a lot with empaths because I'm a Reiki master and substance abuse counselor and an empath. So I have studied a lot about empaths, and I kind of developed a list. It's not a comprehensive list that might give you an idea if you're an empath or not. If you've ever wondered if you are, and so I'm going to just start by saying empaths are highly sensitive people. They tend to, I guess, growing up, their feelings were very sensitive, and they are especially sensitive to the world around them, affected by energies of people, emotions of people, and the world itself is sometimes a very heavy place for an empath. An empath has a huge amount of compassion for other people, maybe more than the average person, not saying a non-empath is any better or worse than an empath. I'm just saying that there are definite differences in people who are empaths, and it tends to be a smaller group of people in this world right now. And finding myself as an empath and learning more and meeting more empaths, I kind of devised a list of questions that you can ask yourself to see if you maybe are an empath. If you're at all interested in this, I'm going to keep making videos on my Sober Yogi Kim Illingworth YouTube channel, because that just has turned into a channel about fighting alcoholism, donating a kidney, and now also some things about empaths. So I'm going to start with the list here, and you can decide if you may be an empath. There's many other things that characteristics of empaths, and some of these you might find that you don't have. That doesn't mean you're not an empath, and having these really doesn't mean that you are either, but it's something to think about. So number one, if you have always been a sensitive person your whole life, as a child and even now today, people called you overly sensitive or emotional. Number two, the news and bad things happening in the world affect you in a huge way. It's hard to move on from hearing anything bad or something awful happening to someone else or in the world. It affects you for minutes, sometimes hours after. It's hard to shake that feeling of empathy toward people who are hurt or killed or treated badly, abused, or just unfair things happening. The environment being damaged is also can be very affect you in a very negative way. Number three, you can't watch scary or violent movies or much of the news. So this was very, in the past, very, very obvious to me that I just couldn't watch violent movies or movies where people were sad or abused. I just can't even watch them. In fact, when my husband watches movies like that, I have to leave the room. I have to limit the amount of news I take on and try to, instead of focusing on hearing of an abuse or an injustice, I need to pray for that person or send them good energy instead and try to let it go, because it could really weigh on me. It's hard to let things go like that when you're an empath. Okay, commercials for starving children or abused animals they upset you extremely, and so much that you even want to turn the channel. The ASPCA for the animals. I donate to that, and I'm a rescue advocate for animals, animal lover, but I cannot watch those commercials. So as long as I feel like I'm doing a proactive thing to help abused animals and children, then I really just turn the commercials off, because it just hurts my heart so bad. You avoid conflict and you worry about if anything that you said might affect someone. Did you say something mean or hurtful to someone else? Sometimes in the middle of the night you wake up worried about, did I say something to hurt that person? Or did I say the wrong thing? So really worried about your words hurting other people. Um, Sometimes empaths are addicted to drugs and alcohol as a form of escapism because we feel the world so intensely, and it's sometimes even physically painful. Sometimes the energies we feel around us or from other people or situations. Um, you tend to use drugs and alcohol as a way to just to numb the pain and to feel better, but it can get into a bad situation if you depend on that too much. Large crowds and parties drain you and cause you anxiety, especially funerals, because the people at funerals are generally sad and in despair. And so, although funerals are not fun to go to, if you are an empath, they're almost they're excruciating, really, because you feel so bad for the people that have lost their loved one. Most people don't like funerals, obviously. Very sick, can be very sad. May or may not have this, but you cry when other people cry, even on TV in a movie. I instantly cry all day at times. Definitely if I'm talking to someone and they're telling me about abuse or pain in their life, I tend to cry. It's not a great thing to do. It's just part of me. I accept it, and I'm trying to control the crying so I can be a more positive helper and not just a cry type person. You can be super sensitive to medicines. It's just one thing I noticed. You can easily get involved with a narcissist or relationship or have a narcissist parent. A lot of empaths I found have that. You might have a chronic pain disorder or depression or anxiety if you're an empath. I know that's a generalized thing, but I find a lot of people with fibromyalgia and other chronic pain disorders tend to be empaths. Not always. People come to you and share their personal stuff or life stories. It seems like everywhere you go, people will come up to you, and it's like you have a good listener, compassion written on your forehead, and or maybe it's the joy and empathy that just comes out of you, but you tend to have people telling you a lot about their life and looking to you as for some hope and counseling, and because empaths are good listeners. Definitely, if you're in any sort of healing career, such as a social worker, nurse, Reiki master, massage therapist, counselor of any kind, doctor, empaths can also be artists and musicians, people that are very creative, but use creativity as an emotional outlet. And so you may or may not have that. And then also right now you feel a sense of, right now everybody feels like the foundation has been ripped out from underneath us. It's just not something, all the things happening right now are not something we've had to deal with before. So obviously everyone is feeling rough at this time emotionally. So I would say, though, that you might have a feeling, if you're an empath, you might have a feeling that something's coming, something important, or want to hugely be a part of the change that's happening in this world. You have a sense of righteousness about justice for people and saving children who are trafficked and abused animals and just people in general that are being kept down, and racism is just very hard for you to stomach. And so basically, though, you have this feeling that something's coming and that you might be a part of the change in the future, even being a little hopeful about it. So that's just some of the things that, sorry this got a little long, but that is just a little list that came off the top of my head, to let you know that you might be an empath. So I can't tell you how many of those you have to say yes to or no to, but I think if you're thinking you might be an empath, you may already be an empath. So I don't know if it's something that a non-empath would want to pursue or even be interested in or even have an inkling about. So think about that, and I will put some more videos out. You can always subscribe to my YouTube channel, Sober Yogi Kim Illingworth, and I'm going to be putting out more videos about being an empath, lots more stuff about that, and also you'll see some videos about my kidney donation, which is literally happening not this Friday but next, this September 18th. So I'm excited about that. And so think about it. Are you an empath?